What is up, y'all? That's right, it's me, Jerry from Team Unco Studios, back again with another MPC Beats, very basic tutorial for y'all using the MPC Beats software. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this part of the series on the little track toolbar down there with plugins. Okay, so to answer the burning question for y'all, what are plugins? All right. We kind of broke it down like this. There's two main kinds of plugins. There's internal plugins, which is what we will be using today for this tutorial, and there are external plugins. External plugins look something like this right here, okay? And you might see these like in pictures of studios, or if you've been into a studio, they might have racks of these up and stuff, right? This is what an external plugin looks like. And what this is just something we're gonna run, whether it's a vocal or a guitar line or whatever, into this. We're going to plug it in, and then it's going to process whatever sound we set on the knobs here, whatever kind of compression or whatever the plugin happens to be, and then we're going to run it back out into our software, and it's going to, tell us what that process sound now sounds like, okay? So we're going to do that same thing with the digital plugins, but a little bit different. Instead of running audio sound, what we're going to be doing is giving it information in the form of MIDI. All right. I know that sounds confusing, but there's no better way to learn it than just to jump right into it. Okay. So if you take a look-see down on my screen here, I have already got some info kind of put in here. Now, the info that I put here and this MIDI information, I did not actually use a controller to do. Okay, I just kind of penciled this stuff in. I kind of just followed a pattern and went like one, skip one, skip one. And then I, just kind of, put two whole blocks here and then two, I just put this pattern in. So it wasn't anything that I did with a controller. I did it in order to show you guys that you don't really need a controller to be able to make music on here. You can just be really good with patterns and numbers and stuff like that, which I am definitely not. So if you are good with those, then you can create musical math, and it will sound awesome. So that's really important to know when using MPC Beats. But I kind of just penciled this stuff in here, all right? So the way we're going to work this tutorial is kind of the way that we worked the last ones, all right? We're just going to work from the top to the bottom. It is really important that you stay organized. If you are not organized, you're going to get very confused when you start getting into the mixing process and the arrangement process and all that, and what's what and everything. So this tutorial is also about keeping everything organized in your folders, your program folders, okay? So let's go ahead and go to that third icon, all right? So if you guys follow me right here to this little track toolbar, let's go ahead and go to plugins. Boom. So now that we're on plugins, you'll notice plugins has kind of got this little setup now. Like if you notice in key groups, we kind of had that same setup, but we didn't really have that extra information that the plugin put here, all right? So we're going to go through all that, but let's start from the top. So the first thing we're going to want to do is let's name this track. Let's say that this plugin right now, which is defaulted to Tube Synth, is going to be what we are going to have on track one. So let's just go ahead and go T Synth. All right. So now we know and we've associated track one with this Tube Synth. Okay. Now down that chain, after we've picked our plugin, right, we're going to have our plugin program. All right. So we're going to be programming these plugins also. All right. This first program we know is going to be Tube Synth. So we'll do Tube Synth. All right. So now we know we have these matching right here. Okay. We want to make sure this is all matching right here. It just is easier to keep it all together and nice. Now, once you get down to your plugins here, you'll notice now that our Tube Synth is what our plugin is, and our preset is Rich Swell. So what this means is the instrument we are going to be plugging this MIDI information into is a Tube Synth. And the preset of that piece of hardware, right? Like if you remember with my piece of hardware, if I have these preset to a certain sound that I might like my vocals on, all right, I'm going to remember that preset. I'm going to write it down in a book or something somewhere. Well, MPC Beats actually puts these in folders for you that are already preset, which is awesome because then you don't hardly ever have to turn any knobs, right? So If you go ahead and navigate to this little tiny downward arrow right here, okay, you'll notice there's two different ones here. The one for plugins just allows you to change that plugin, okay? But because we know we want synth, we're gonna go ahead and stay on synth for now and hit select, all right? Under that is your preset. So your preset right now for this tube synth is rich swell. Well, where do you see that at, right? Where's your piece of digital hardware where you can see all the knobs and the tube synth, right? So if you notice, and I'm going to zoom on in to right there, this little guy, bam. Now we have got this piece of digital hardware, all right? Just like I have an external piece of hardware, here's the digital piece of hardware. Where all these knobs are set, y'all, this is what makes rich swell. Okay, this preset is called rich swell. And what does that sound like over my MIDI information? It sounds something like this. That's actually not bad. You know what? I actually kind of like that. It's not terrible. It's not a terrible start. So that is what that preset is, okay? So that preset rich swell is this. Now, if I want to go to a different preset, okay, where would I navigate to? Where do you guys think I would navigate? If somebody out there said, go to the downward arrow, applaud you, because that is exactly where we're going to go. Downward arrow, and you notice, bang. Now I've got all of these different presets that are all formed in these different, like, you know, folders. So synth, these are all the presets for synth. Lead, these are all the, you know, presets for leads, and on, right? So you've got all of these different, you know, things that you can do here. So let's just say we go to needles here, all right? Let's listen to needles. Okay, that's pretty cool. So if I go ahead and open up my piece of hardware here, right? I want you guys to go ahead and just keep your attention focused on all of these little knobby guys right here, all right? If I go to another, let's say bass here, and let's go simple bass, just keep an eye on all the knobs, and I'm gonna change it in 3, 2, 1, boom. Now you notice everything changed. That's what I'm talking about when I'm saying preset. These knobs have now preset themselves to sound like simple bass. Okay, now I can also manipulate that in any way that I want, right? So let's say I want the octave up. Let's say I'm going to change this octave now to the here. Let's go ahead and play this. And that's what that does, okay? So you can now change these presets to something that you have customized, right? Now this is no longer this simple bass preset because you've changed it. It's now Jerry's simple bass, right? So you can, I mean, like I always say, guys, the possibilities are endless when you know how to, you know, the rules and how to keep everything organized, all right? So let's go ahead and close this out. And let's go ahead and just go back to rich swell, all right? Let's go ahead and we're going to stay with this right here. So I like that. That sounds cool. Now, we're going to go ahead and open another track. And I'm going to go through this thoroughly because this is where people start to get lost, okay? So in order to open a new track and to get another sound in here, let's say we're going to put bass, you guys. Let's say we're going to open another track and put bass. So first thing we're going to do is go bass here, okay? We're going to use a bass plugin. So let's go ahead and put bass, all right? So I got my bass here now, and now I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to go to my plugin here, right? And I'm going to say, I want a bass now, all right? Now, boom. Oh, wait a minute. What's going on here, right? You're like, wait a minute. Okay, what's going on? Yeah, I want a new program there. Yeah. No, that is not what this is saying. What this warning is telling you is that you are currently using that plugin somewhere else. So what did I do wrong here to not get that another plugin in, right? Does anybody know out there? I hope you guys are saying the right answers, and I think you guys are. I got a lot of really cool people that follow the channel. So I think that somebody out there must have said you did not open a new program for your plugin, and that is the correct answer. So if we cancel that and we make sure to follow this down and open a new plugin, all right, this is why it's important to follow this rule of top to bottom, all right? So I've got bass here, but I've got synth here. So if you remember in your key group video, you go to this little plusy guy right here and bang, now I've got a new plugin. All right, so here's my new plugin, and we are going to label this now bass. All right, and now I can change my tube synth to bass, and I will not get that warning because I'm in a new plugin. And now I've got bass, 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 and I can change this to whatever I want now because these are all my basses. These are all my bass, you know, programs and folders and everything here for that plugin. All right. So that's the basic breakdown. If you keep it organized, it helps you with your workflow. Now, let's go ahead and go to our track view. So I want you to navigate to track view. So if you notice now in my track view up here, okay, I've got my tube synth and it matches this little window here. Now, I've been wanting to show you guys this, and I kind of saved it for this last video because it gives you a great breakdown. This might be one of the best windows that MPC Beats has put in their software. And if you go to this little arrow guy, of course, because they love arrows, and you open it up, you will notice you get a breakdown of all the different things that are in your key groups, your plugins, and your drums, right? It's all in one thing. So you can see it all right here. And the reason why this is important is because if you are not staying organized here, what's going to happen is one of these is going to get changed to like bass because you forgot to follow a step, and you're listening to your track and going, what is going on? Why does this sound? That's not what I want it to sound like. It's probably because one of these does not match here. Okay. So you always want to make sure to match your track along with whatever plugin, key group, or drum program you happen to be using. All right. So if we go back to our tube synth, now that's there. And now I can go back to my bass too and go back to that track and start laying down bass. Okay. So if you stay organized with this stuff, it's really, really easy to follow, y'all. All right. And I hope this was helpful. That is pretty much it for plugins on this video, you guys. We really thank you all so much for the love and support. We want you guys to ask us more questions. I know somebody had mentioned about a playlist. We did make a playlist on the YouTube channel. So all of the videos now are in one playlist so you guys can keep going through them and you guys can be able to find different things that you need and all of that. If you want to see anything else, just let us know, y'all, and we will start making videos on that. Again, like I had said at the beginning of the video, there's tons of different things that we are going to be making videos on. Lastly, we did start a merchandise line. If you guys had noticed the hat, all right, we are going to start getting links where we can send y'all for t-shirts, and you guys can become part of Team Uncoordinated and Team Unco Studios and everything that we are trying to accomplish with making music really simple and easy for you to understand, even if you don't have a musical bone in your body. All right. So that's it for this tutorial. We hope you guys, got everything out of this part of the series you needed. Stay tuned for more videos, and we will talk to you guys later.